Now let's get into your professional career.
Okay.
So, unfortunately, you had a rough start because of COVID.
Right.
Where things were not normal for the past year. But let's talk about this transition. Now, after you graduated from Colorado, briefly mention too some of the accolades. You definitely had a very good career at Colorado. So let's start there first.
Okay. So everything kind of started clicking my senior year. And the second half of my junior year into my senior year, I only started focusing on the mental aspect of the game then. Before that, I never really trained anything mental. And golf is, after you get to a certain level, it's, if not all mental, 90% mental. And I still am working on it today because I'm not 100% and I'm not exactly where I want to be yet in that aspect. But I really started focusing on that my junior into senior year, and I think that helped. So it was crazy because I actually went to a program called Vision 54 my junior year. And I had a rough first semester. And, I was getting frustrated. I was getting burnt out. I was like, I just started questioning everything. I was like, is this what I want to do? And so what I did is I actually went to one of their camps, which was a week long. I flew out to Arizona and did it. And I remember everything that I learned, I just felt very refreshed, and I reapplied it. And I know that when I came back for the following semester in the spring, the coaches, they didn't say anything to me until after the spring season, but they kind of pulled me to the side and they were like, something's different about you. You not only did your game start to get better, but like the way you carry yourself, the way you just something was different. They noticed it. And I didn't really tell them that I did anything over the break because I was like, I didn't think it was important to say anything, right? It was just, I went to a camp and all that. But actually I did tell them, that I went there and what I learned and that kind of thing. And then I ended up going again in my senior year just to, it's always good to refresh. And I think that mental aspect is kind of what made everything click together. And so senior year, started playing great. We went to regionals all 4 years that I was there. I played every single event in college, which is pretty cool.
Yes.
And we ended up making it to nationals my senior year. And so that was a cool experience because I think that was only the second time in school history that they've made it to nationals. And I just remember walking into regionals, which is where you qualify. The year before that, we missed nationals by a stroke. And the year before that, we missed nationals by a stroke.
Wow.
So we were kind of like, the one-shot wonder team. It's always by a stroke. So I think going to senior year, at least when I was there, I felt like I kind of, being the senior, we don't really have an official team captain or anything like that, but being the only senior, and I think I kind of cultivated like a healthy, competitive kind of environment for the team where I was always like pushing people and telling them, no, you can get better. No, like, do you guys want to go to nationals? This is what we have to do together, that kind of thing. And I think everyone just kind of thrived off of each other. And we played great at regionals, made it to nationals. And me and one other girl on the team, we got All-American honorable mention. So I reached that goal of All-American and I was like, yes, finally.
Yes.
But that felt so good to finally get.
Congrats on all of that success. And I like how you elevated your team too, because that's something that I'm very familiar with, is like you can create an environment that everyone elevates each other.
Right.
Or you can create an environment that it's kind of a negative atmosphere where you're competing with each other, your teammates, in a negative way, which is not what you want. Right?
And I think it's almost like an unwritten responsibility for the upperclassmen to do. The coaches, yes, they're always there, they're always pushing, but I think it's a little different for your teammates when it's coming from another player. It's someone who's with you at practice, someone who understands the workouts and the grind and all that kind of stuff. They're with you, they're suffering. So I think maybe they just kind of absorb it a little better, maybe.
Yes.
But yeah, I thought we had a great atmosphere, great environment senior year.
That is awesome to hear. And just to get those experiences, right? And not only in golf, but just in life.
Right.
So now after you graduated from Colorado, talk about this transition into playing professionally, what it's been like. Has anything changed with your approach to golf or training?
Yeah. For sure. So I'm obviously, more knowledgeable in terms of working out and traveling. What I would hear constantly before I graduated and turned pro was, you got to be prepared for, it's going to be lonely. It's going to be a lot of traveling. It's going to be lonely. And, I would watch girls who did amazing in junior golf in college. And then all of a sudden they turn pro and it's like, whoa, what happened?
Yeah.
And I would always think to myself, I'm like, what changed? You know, I mean, I'm not there right now, but I don't know what happened. And again, I didn't really understand it until I got into it. So what I did is after graduation, I moved out to Arizona. And one, there's a lot of golfers there, lots of golf courses. It's always sunny and it's easy to travel from. So that's the main reason why I chose Arizona. I think it was a little bit of a transition because I just went from in high school having all the time in the world to college to not having that much time. And now I'm back to all the time in the world. Then I think also finding people to practice with sometimes, because I would practice a lot by myself. And sometimes you get a little complacent when you practice by yourself and you need competition or games, or you need to play against someone to kind of just, whether it be once or twice a week, to kind of just keep that competitiveness and always getting better, you know, happening. I think my first year, so I turned pro, I played a couple tournaments, and then I went to qualifying school, which is how you get, you know, your tour card and your status and all that. Something changed mentally, and I mean, I know what it is now that I've had time to sit back and reflect on it. I put way too much pressure on myself. Something changed from college into professional in that, okay, obviously you're playing for your living now, but that's not something you can think about when you're playing. But for me, you know, that's kind of the mindset that I had. I would play a bad round or a bad tournament or have a bad qualifying score, and I would think it would be the end of the world. And that is not the way to go about it. And so I think, you know, that's part of maturing and learning. And I'm sure a lot of people have experienced that too. You're all of a sudden you're like, okay, I'm not in college anymore. Like, this is big time. Like, I got to do well. But it's just golf. When it comes down to it, it's just golf. Your goal is to just play good golf. And that's something that I struggled with the first year. Too much pressure on myself, and then getting used to being lonely and traveling and doing things on your own. In school, everything's taken care of. You know, everyone books your flights, books your hotels. You show up and you play golf. That's what you do. You got a whole team of chiropractors and nutritionists and trainers and all that. Nothing. And so after graduation, you know, I had to figure out, okay, who's going to be my team? Who do I like to work with? And then, of course, you know, traveling and booking everything.
When you have to do all of these added responsibilities, you don't realize how much, like, it takes away from your focus. So that's true too. And then now you have to find your team and, you know, do everything that's going to really help your game, right?